We're back, the headless YouTuber and her trusty pug, Pudge. Okay, so first things first. The last time I wore this shirt, you guys were like, oh my gosh, I love that you're in this shirt. Like, they have the best bagels ever. I am a fraud. I've actually never had these bagels. I've never even been to Montreal. Alice brought this home with me after a work trip just because this guy makes me so happy, this dancing bagel. So yeah, I've never had their bagels. I've heard they're very good though. So if anyone is inclined to send me one, I would not fight you. I would gladly accept that. Jumping into today's video. Just a little bit of backstory on Nick. Nick is my downstairs neighbor who, he has always been into plants, but he had a lot of like outdoor palms and just kind of like the more common tropical plants that you can get at the stores. It was me who sucked him into the world of imported aroids and all of the plants that we have. So I do take some blame in the fact that his home has turned into a jungle, but his plants are beautiful. He is actually in Europe right now, and he's asked me to watch his plants and water them when they need to be, and he unfortunately has a full-on thrips outbreak. He's treating right now with systemic and predatory mites, but you know, I know that he's stressed about it, and obviously I'm not thrilled about having to go into his house that is infested with thrips on his plants right now. But every time I go down there, I basically strip all my clothes off, throw it straight into laundry, and I just don't want to take anything home. So going back to what I was saying, he's in Europe for 3 weeks. Our trips just kind of missed each other. So the day that he comes home is when I leave. And instead of just helping him with his plants, I decided that I think I'm going to surprise him with a complete overhaul of his plants. He gives his plants very, very good conditions, and they grow so fast, so big, way more robustly than me. And I feel like I'm using more expensive fertilizer, I'm putting way more things into amendments than he is, and generally just take more time with my plants, yet all of his plants have just completely blown up in a very short amount of time. So I don't know, he's like a wizard or something. It has gotten a little bit out of hand. His exos are completely overgrown. His plants in his living room are overgrown. Everything has kind of grown faster than he can keep up with. So I do have to prune back a lot because of the thrip stuff. But I asked him, you know, how much are you willing to cut back? Like, how are you feeling about your collection? And he has expressed to me that he is very overwhelmed, and he essentially doesn't care what I have to prune. Just kind of giving me free rein to do whatever I feel is necessary. So I'm just going to take it upon myself to kind of just get him back in a place that's manageable and that he can enjoy more growth come spring. So just to preface this, do not just randomly decide to surprise your friends by overhauling all their plants, cutting all their plants, and thinking they're gonna like it. I know Nick very well. I give him a lot of plant advice. He comes to me for help often, and you know, he trusts me with his collection. So he knows that I will do right by him, and he knows that I only want the best for his collection. I'm so sorry, it's really, really warm in here today, so he's just panting a lot. So again, do not watch this video and think, I want to do that for a friend, and then you go in and cut their whole collection, because our plants are a very personal thing to us. I'm sure you guys wouldn't appreciate someone coming into your home and just chopping everything back and moving everything around. But again, just given my relationship with Nick, I know that he is actually going to be very glad that I'm doing this. And the goal is I want him to come back from his trip feeling refreshed, feeling like he's in a totally new space, feeling just a lot more at ease with the size of his plants, and I just don't want him to stress. So yeah, the plan is going to be, I'm going to treat everything for thrips, I'm going to repot, I'm going to move plants around, I'm going to chop back plants, I'm going to propagate plants, I'm going to hopefully create a little bin of plants that he can propagate and sell and make some money. Today is September 21st, so I literally have about 3 weeks to get all of this done before he comes home. And keep in mind, I'm also filming other videos while I do this, so it's gonna take me a while to get through all of the things that I need to do. So the outfits are gonna change, the nails are gonna change, everything's gonna change. It's not gonna be like a fluid video. There's no way that I could do all of this kind of in one go. The first part is going to be me showing some of my favorite plants of Nick's and just kind of showing you in the state it's in, and show you how he has it growing, the conditions he gives it. And he has a lot of great plants, so I'm really excited to show you guys some of them because he has a lot of plants that I don't have actually. And a lot of you have actually requested that I do collabs with my friends and do plant tours of their collections, and that's something that I definitely want to do. I have an entire list of friends that I want to invite myself over and show you guys their amazing collections. So Nick will be first. I'm not going to do a show and tell of all of his plants because, like I said, he has a lot. But I do have my favorites, and I just want to show them to you. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy because he has some beautiful plants. He manages to grow them so large, and fun fact, he also pots with no drainage for many of his plants, including some of his very large plants like his glorious, his elbow, all which I'll show you today. While the sun is still out, I'm going to pop downstairs and I will meet you there. I am at Nick's house. I'm filming in the kitchen because I just want to respect their privacy. I don't want to show too much of the actual apartment. I want to just show the plants as much as I can. Nick, I was looking for water, but I found this instead. So I'll buy you another case of these because this just feels right, you know? If you haven't had strawberry beer, he introduced me to this. It is so freaking good. I haven't eaten today. It's like 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, but you know what? We're here, we're gonna do it. Just a forewarning, I know you guys say you don't hear a lot of the background noise that I talk about, but this fridge does make sort of a little humming sound, so you might hear that in the background, but I'm not gonna unplug their fridge. So to be honest, I'm not 100% sure on some of the IDs of these. Why do I always spill everything? I'm not sure on the ID of a lot of these plants, but I will obviously plug it in once I consult with my plant friends and they help me ID it. So if I had to take a guess, I think this is a philodendron white princess. I think white knights have a more reddish stem and petiole with wider leaves, and I think the princess has narrower leaves. I could be wrong. I haven't really studied that plant a lot. I'm just doing some thrips inspections while I'm here. So anyways, this was actually from a larger plant that he propagated. I haven't checked to see if it's in there, but this would be one of his little propagations. And the variegation on this is just incredible. This is quite the propagation. So this is one of my favorites of his. The next one, okay, if I'm just gonna take a guess, I think this is a philodendron strawberry shake propagation. I'm not super into like the green and yellow variegation, but just the combination of yellow, green, and white is just with the red, like the reddish petioles. I don't know. This is, when I first saw it, I was like, do I like this plant? But it's just beautiful. And I do think that he has a mother plant strawberry shake in there that had thrips. But there's actually no variegation on it. So, all right, the next one is an actual Alocasia frydek. I have addressed this in another video. The green version of this is an Alocasia micholitziana maxkowskii. An Alocasia frydek is the variegated version of it. And this was actually much bigger when he got it, but he got this thing called root mealies, and I think I've had root mealies once before, but I was able to get rid of it really quick. I'm not sure if what I'm looking at is root mealies or perlite, and I'm kind of scared if it's not perlite because I actually think these are root mealies, which would be terrifying. But he does mix perlite into his moss, so I'm thinking it's perlite. So it used to be bigger, but obviously root mealies kind of did a number on this thing. Luckily, it does not have thrips, thank goodness, but he still has a good amount of rhizome left, I hope. And this one actually looks like it's gonna push out another new growth soon, so that's good. But I've always wanted one of these. The Maxkowski is probably my favorite alocasia of all time. Actually, it is my favorite alocasia of all time. So if I ever had a variegated one, I would just be like over the moon. But it's nice to be able to enjoy this one in his collection because I do pop in here pretty often and gawk at his plants. So yeah, Alocasia Frydek, this is definitely one of my favorite of his. And then I have one down here, and I'm not sure, I think this is an Alocasia Mellow or Maharani. They're very, very similar. He has both. I couldn't locate the other one because all of his plants are kind of spread out everywhere, but yeah, this is an Alocasia Mellow or Maharani, and the thing I love most about this plant is this very, very subtle, sort of like stippled texture the leaf has. It's like a bumpy texture, and I love the shape of this leaf. I love the color of it. I just love everything about it, and it's very, very stiff, like not easily bendable. They're thick leaves, and they're beautiful. He's got a brand new leaf coming here, and the undersides are this beautiful sort of purple color. And then this one is on its way out. It's a pretty big one. Yeah, like look how thick this tuber is now. It's massive. So this thing is well on its way to becoming a beast. He actually, okay, so I didn't even tell you the substrates. He has all of these with drainage holes, with pond at the bottom and moss. This one is in a no drainage pot, extremely root bound, pond at the bottom with a little bit of leca and then soil up top. So I'm going to try my best to repot things that need to be repotted. I'm just, you know, it's just a lot on top of actually rehabbing everything and cleaning everything. I just don't know how much I'm actually gonna get done in 3 weeks, but I'll try and get as much done as I can. But anyway, Alocasia Mellow, Maharani. This next one is stunning. He actually sent me a photo of this before he left and was like, this is one of my prized possessions right now. It's one of his favorites, and for good reason. This is an amazing, amazing specimen. It has great genetics. This is a Monstera stanleyana aurea. If you look at where we started, so this actually started as a stem cutting, and it put out all these teeny tiny little baby leaves that you see down here, which all have great variegation, to be honest. And then it starts beefing up about here, and then we've got that leaf, and then this one back here. Oh my gosh, this leaf is gorgeous. And then this one that doesn't have a ton of variegation, and then it puts out this freaking half moon, and then this one, and then now we've got one that's getting, it looks like the stem is getting really, really light, and then we have a completely separate growth coming out of the stem. So these are actually kind of two plants, or it could be two plants, but either way it has great variegation. I am just like stunned by this plant. This is beautiful. Next plant is making me want plants with yellow variegation, and I hate that. It's growing so well for him, and you guys, it's literally in a freaking cup with some old moss. No pole or anything. Leaves are beefing up. He doesn't even use any fancy fertilizer. I think right now he's just using Marfil. It's like, why do I even try? I should just bring all my plants to Nick's house and tell him to grow them bigger for me. I'm gonna have to take a photo of this because this is freaking incredible. Most of these are variegated. Okay, so the next one is a Macarize, something Macarize, variegated Macarize. Looks very similar to the Frydek, but it is not. These have very, very long petioles, but the variegation is beautiful. I don't think this is his mother plant. This might have been a propagation, because he says that he propagated his main plant a while ago. And if this is a propagation, wow. Makes me wonder, like, why do I not have very many variegated plants? Anyway, this is a great plant. And then we have a Philodendron tortum, which, oh, what a dreamy specimen this is. It's growing so beautifully. I cannot get over these leaves. Like, a lot of people say, like, why would you get a tortum if you could just get a Majesty Palm? It is absolutely different, day and night. There is no similarity. They're just incredible. The leaves have this sort of like soft, almost like velvety matte texture. The leaves are very stiff. This has to be one of my all-time favorite philodendrons. I just find them to be so fun. I love their growth pattern. I love the shape of the leaves. They get more beautiful as they get larger. Yeah, this one's great. And I don't see any thrips, which is good. It seems like 3 of his exos are safe and the other 2 are not. So I have to make sure to keep everything separate. But anyway, this one is a great one. It's definitely beefing up in size. This is the newest leaf to come out. And we started right here. So beautiful. I can't wait till mine is this big. And then the next one that we have is a Philodendron giganteum. It definitely wasn't this giant when he got it. I think this is actually from Alice, and it was much smaller, but it's put out some really beautifully variegated leaves. It's kind of got this like almost mottled variegation to it, kind of how a Paraiso Verde can look. But the variegation has actually been pretty steady. I can't locate which leaf is the oldest. If I have to take a stab in the dark, I'm gonna say this is the oldest leaf on it. And there is variegation, but not like a ton of white. And then we have the newest leaf to come out here, which is this one. It's huge though. You guys, he has this in a freaking exo. Like, his exos are wild. Also, no thrips on this one, thank goodness. But I kind of want to add this one to my wish list now. This is a pretty fun one. And if you guys are wondering what these are Swirsky mites. Oh, these are Spikel ultimites actually. And these eat thrip larvae. This is a Philodendron Florida Beauty. And I remember when he took this one home, I think he had cut the main plant into 2 and he started with 1 leaf, which was, gosh, I don't know which one it was. I think it was this one. I think this was the first leaf on it. And then luckily he was able to get an entirely new offshoot to branch off. And we have these beautifully variegated leaves. He almost thought he was gonna lose this one, but luckily he was able to save it. This one is just also in moss and Lechuzapon, fertilizing with Marfil, and it's got so many leaves on it. I don't even think it dropped the original leaf yet. I can see it starting to yellow a little bit, but considering how many new leaves it birthed, like, that's actually really impressive for not using anything but Marfil. I have grown a fondness for Florida Beauties ever since my friend Nessa gave me a cutting. It's just been such an easy plant to grow. Hasn't given me any trouble. It's pushing out a new leaf like every other week. The thing is like doubled in size or tripled in size since I got it, and it started as just like a teeny tiny little cutting. So yeah, I really love this plant, and I hope that the variegation continues. I am hopeful that it will, because there's a lot of variegation in all the leaves. Something I am seeing though that I'm not liking is, I think this one has root mealies as well. So those aren't mealy bugs, but it's like this powdery looking thing. Do you guys see it right here? It's not focusing, obviously. Right there. And I can see they do look like bugs. They look like mealy bugs, but they're smaller. I'll see if I can get some close-up shots of this, but yeah, I'm gonna have to treat this one for root mealies as well. It is in the same exo, I believe, as the Friedeck, so that kind of makes sense. Anyway, let's see what else I can grab before this camera dies. This next one is a philodendron Jose Bueno. This one was in close quarters with a plant that had thrips. Oh, no. It does have thrips. Oh, this poor thing. So anyway, I've always loved this plant. I just can't find one. I just really love the leaf shape, and I love that the variegation is just so random. You can get like this sort of, okay, this is very hard. You can get this sort of like green on green, or you can get something that's a little bit more white with green. This one is just purely like speckled with white. This one down here is green on green. And it's just growing so beautifully. I mean, despite the fact it has thrips, it was a lot smaller when he got it. He does have this one in no drainage potting with leca and perlite and pon, and my camera's gonna die. I am not fully charged yet, but I am a little bit tipsy. And it's actually really cold in here. He has the AC on, and I'm just ready to go home and take a nap. But I think I have about 6 or 7 more to show you, maybe 8. Anyway, this was his big philodendron pink white princess. And you can see the pink, oh, this thing is big. You can see the pink in the stem, kind of, right there. This one is in one of his most humid exos, and the aerial roots in his exos are wild. They are all over the place. They root into each other. It gets crazy in there, but it is growing pretty beautifully. He did chop this one back because for whatever reason, multiple auxiliary buds activated, and it was just like a bush. It was wild, and it was a little bit too wild for him. I can see that another one activated down here. This is a brand new leaf, and there's a lot of white. There's another one on the way. The top leaves don't have as much variegation. This one has a little bit of white here, a little splash, and then this one almost no variegation, but lots of thrips damage. Another leaf is coming, and I'm not seeing any white right away, but you never know. But yeah, this one is just, it's so hard to even get it in the frame. I am gonna have to repot it. Can you guys believe that this plant has grown in this tiny little thing? So small. It is in soil, but it's very root bound. But this plant is massive. So anyone that comes for me and says that you can't have big plants in no drainage hole potting, I've got some news for you. And I will leave you with the grand finale, because 2 of his plants that are very big and very healthy and happy are both in teeny tiny no drainage pots. Okay, let me go grab the last few. This one is an Epipremnum aureum mandula, aka Mandula pothos. And this one is actually getting pretty big. It has outgrown the pot. I love the way it's growing, but it is a little bit sort of like sparse and leggy down here. So I'm actually thinking of chopping it right here at this node, propagating it, and then filling it in down here so that it's a little bit more bushy. But the variegation on this one is also really, really beautiful. And it's been pretty steady throughout. So yeah, I think the Mandula pothos will always be, I think, my favorite kind of pothos. I just love the leaf shape. I love the variegation on it, and I just find them to be really beautiful. So this one is definitely a bit too big for this pole now, and I'm not really wanting to extend the pole in the corner that it's in. So I do think I'm gonna chop it and propagate it, but I'm a little bit nervous because Nick did show me this plant before he left and was like, oh, look how big it's getting. And I don't know, I need to make a judgment call to see if that's what he would want me to do or not. So I'm gonna hold off for a little bit and just kind of see how I'm feeling. Okay, I'm a bit nervous to be handling this plant right now because there are a lot of thrips on it, which makes me very, very sad, but this is a Monstera Esqueleto, and it is a specimen. It is huge. It has fully rooted into this pole, and it's already been extended once. It's in this pot here in mostly pon and some moss up top, but this lower leaf is going out. This was the oldest one on this plant, and you can see it's got a good amount of thrips damage, and I see thrips on it, and I'm getting itchy. But there are a lot of, it looks like he's got Swirsky mites on this one, and I see a lot of them on here. So luckily they have woken up and will eat some of the baby thrips. But let me move back. Like, it's kind of hard to like really know how big this thing is in real life, but I am obsessed with the fenestrations on this. It reminds me almost of a Spruciana, where they kind of like hang low and they kind of curl, and they're a little like wrinkly. I don't know what the right word to describe it is, but yeah, unfortunately this one has been overtaken by thrips. This is another one that I'm contemplating chopping. I'm just very nervous because this is an expensive plant. I'm feeling a little bit hesitant about it, so I'm gonna hold off. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do at this point yet, but I did want to show it to you guys because it is just beautiful. I mean, despite all the damage, it's still a really, really beautiful plant. And he actually has another propagation in his exo, which is nice and healthy, so that's good. This one is also in a no drainage pot, perlite at the bottom, topped with leca, and then soil, and then moss on top. This is a Monstera elbow, and it is humongous. It definitely was not this big when he first got it. I think it was like maybe a 3-leafer when he acquired it. Look how tall it is compared to me. It's like more than half of my size. But the variegation on this is amazing. It does that thing where it like kind of almost puts out a marbled leaf, and then it throws out like a half moon, and then it does a marbled and then a half moon. I don't want to ruin his plant, but I did want to try and show it to you as best as possible. So that's that. And then the last one I'm going to show you is my ultimate favorite of his. Keep in mind, it's in this size vessel. Just perlite and leca down at the bottom, soil, moss up top. This is a Philodendron glorious. It's a hybrid of a gloriosum and a melanochrysum. This actually has so many leaves on it. We're moving down. Oh, this is so awkward. Okay, so here we are at the middle. And then, how am I gonna show this? Okay, let's grab it. So we move upward. Guys, look at how big this leaf is, and it's just living out in his living room. Nothing special. He does have a grow light on it, but that thing is humongous. It's like 2 times the size of my head. This one is super big too. It is super rooted into this pole, and it is just wild that that thing is just in this tiny little pot. McDonald's cut for scale. This is the elbow. Big guy. And then I'm just honestly in awe of this plant because I'm like, look where we started, right? Oldest leaf on this plant, still on the plant. It's about the size of my palm. And then we go up here to the newest leaf, and it's huge. He has air layered it on every node, almost every node, which was a good call because you can fertilize all of those aerial roots. And when it realizes that it's holding on to something, it'll just push out these big boys. But again, like, the size of this leaf in comparison to pot size. How? It's so funny. And he just has it living in a kind of dark corner, to be honest. These are living next to each other and they're living its best life. So I am absolutely not touching these plants. I don't want to do anything to disturb the growth that's on them now. I think they're doing just fine. Honestly, this one will need to be repotted eventually, but that is not a job for me alone. I want to make sure I'm with Nick when I do it. So anyway, these are my top 2 favorite plants of his. They are just, I hope mine can get this big one day. Okay, so we are back here with Pudge. Don't mind my jacked up manicure. It's been a little bit since I filmed that last video. Okay, fine, it's been 7 weeks since I posted that last video. I mean, filmed that last video. Quit breathing down my neck. Okay, so I want to show you guys a new trick that my little baby Pudge is working on. If you are squeamish with raw foods or like just food products, not food products, animal products for dogs, look away, don't look. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we have little anchovies that Pudge loves so much. These are from True Carnivores. If you guys are local to Vancouver, they are a local company that we get Pudge's food, his treats, his supplements, everything from. And this big bag is only $17, so it's a great deal. So I'm just gonna cut these into like little pieces, or else I'm just gonna give him way too much because he's probably not gonna get this right on his first try. So, all right, ready? Chin. Chin. No, that's not chin. Oh no, he's not good at this when he's sitting down, but he's better at it when he's laying down. So, chin. No, chin. Good boy, gentle. Chin. Nope. Chin. Chin. Good boy. There is no purpose to why he needs to know this trick. I just think it's very cute. So, chin. Good boy. Chin. 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 No, that's not chin. Let's give you a better angle. Chin. Chin. Good boy. Chin. No. Chin. Good boy. Oh my gosh, he almost like bites my hand off. Okay, last one. Chin. Good job. Okay. Let's show him another one. No. 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 Don't touch it. Not yet. His face is so cute. Look at those little eyes. Okay, go. Okay, let's show him how you catch it in your mouth. Ready? Good job. Okay, let's do 2 more. This lighting is awful. Oh. Ready? Whoa. Bad throw. Good catch. Okay, this is 2 and 1. It's the last one. Whoa. Ready? Can you sit? Can you tell everybody thank you for watching today's video? And we hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the comments and the thumbs up. And we will see you in the next one. Do you want to give him a high five? Yeah. Okay, ready? High five. Bye.